Hello and welcome to another edition of Luther Manor's Employee Spotlight. I'm Nikki Bird and welcome. Thank you for joining us. So today I have a very special person with me, Kathy Bergerman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
So can you start by telling us what your role is here at Luther Manor?
Sure. So, as you said, I'm Kathy Bergerman. I'm the Director of Independent Living in the Terrace.
Awesome. And how long have you been at Luther Manor?
On April 21st, I will be here 33 years.
Wow, that is amazing. Can you walk us through your journey here at Luther Manor? So, how you started, and
Sure.
kind of your progression.
Sure. Well, really, the whole reason I came to Luther Manor was because of the birth of my second child. Our first son was looking for a place that I could work at that had a daycare. And Luther Manor was opening a daycare. And one of my best friends was working at Luther Manor and knew about my goal and knew about my history, my work history, my skill level. And she said, "There's an opening. I think you should apply." And so that's how I started 33 years ago. I started as a social worker in the Terrace.
Wow. Okay.
I was then advanced to case manager, and then I was advanced to resource manager after that. And then when Patrick Hansen began his journey here at Luther Manor, I was offered the permanent role of the Director of Independent Living. Prior to that, I had been doing it as an interim role.
Oh, awesome. Yes, I remember the daycare. That was very helpful and it's really nice. That's an amazing journey that you've been through, and I'm glad that you shared that with our viewers, because I think that is really important for folks that are wanting to come or thinking about coming to Luther Manor, is that we really do try to advance people from within, and there is that opportunity to grow. And so I'm just so glad that you were able to share that.
I've always said that I feel Luther Manor is very good to social workers, because it's been my experience that social workers who work here at Luther Manor have been promoted into different roles and been trusted with those roles. So yes, I agree with you. I think that's a very important thing that people know about.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. So what is something at Luther Manor that you're most proud of?
Oh, that's a great question. I think there's many things that I'm proud of, but if I had to pick one, it would be the supportive living program in the Terrace. And the reason I would pick that is because the program was well researched, well studied. I myself was involved with 3 different subcommittees on researching it, studying it, looking at would this really meet resident needs. And I'm also proud of it because it was in response to Terrace residents saying to leadership, management, we want to stay in our Terrace apartments. We don't want to move. And we also want staff who is trained by Luther Manor, hired by Luther Manor, and part of the Luther Manor family to provide care to us in our apartments. And the supportive living program is how those expressed requests and needs was solved and came into being. So every time we have an admission into supportive living, I have a smile, because I'm so thrilled that all these years later, we're meeting that need, and people are able to stay in their terrace apartment where they consider to be their homes.
Right.
Where when they moved into, said, I don't want to move again.
Right.
So I'm really very proud of that program and pleased and thankful for the hard work that the supportive living team does, led by Stephanie Sparks Thompson. It's really a great team.
It is. And what's, just for our viewers as well, our CBRF certified folks work there in that supportive living space. So that's good to know as well, so that if if that's something that they're interested in, is working with more of our independent residents, that's kind of
Absolutely. And I think it's great for folks to have that exposure to the other care areas on campus, and to really know our campus and all the resources that we have, because supportive living is a huge resource.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Who are some of your biggest inspirations here, if you think about that at Luther Manor?
Biggest inspirations. That's another really good question. I believe that for me, the inspirations, the residents themselves, their life stories, the privilege and honor of getting to know them, being here as long as I have, seeing so many of them go through their journeys, walking alongside them, in the valleys, seeing how they negotiate when their spouses pass or a child dies. It's very humbling and inspirational to see how our residents have negotiated moving here, making new friends, making relationships, becoming a part of the Luther Manor family, and bringing their families with as well. It's just incredible to see. And I think when I see the Terrace singers perform, when I watch the creative writers get together and create incredible written creations, and the Whatnot group that gets together every week and just creates these beautiful handcrafted items, all of those things are so inspirational and are witness to residents making choices to be engaged and to be positive and to be part of the community. They're truly inspirational.
I definitely agree with that, for sure. And my last question to you is, why would you recommend someone to work here at Luther Manor?
Well, I have recommended folks to work here, actually, and the reason I recommended folks to work here is because when I started, I heard all about the Luther Manor family. And I have a little cynical side, and my little cynical side was like, posh, right? The Luther Manor family. I've heard, companies say, "Oh, come and be part of our family." But then I went through life here, and when my husband received a very impactful cancer diagnosis and had to go through treatments and surgery, I'll never forget. The vice president at the time was Phil Orkin. He came to my office, he sat across from me, and he said, "Anything you need from us, we will be here for you. We are your family." And I saw it again when my sons needed to do volunteer hours. And at the time, Cheryl Schmitz was here, and she welcomed my 11-year-old son, almost 12 years old at the time, with open arms, and just things like that truly make you feel valued, heard, seen, part of the life, part of the fabric, part of the community. Right. It's just so incredible, and that's my story. And that's what I tell people. I tell people that my son was the first baby here at the daycare, and how great that was for me as a working mom. Right. And how time and time again, my family has been included in the Luther Manor family. And it's made a difference with my sons, they're able to interact across the age spans with everyone. They don't have any reticence. And in fact, I would say both of my sons have great love for seniors because of their Luther Manor time. So it's those kind of things that make me enjoy Luther Manor, recommend Luther Manor, and continue to work here.
Definitely, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that too. I think that when you're going to work each day, the one thing I love about coming here is that we are truly a family. And you do spend the majority of your time, if you think about it, at work. And our employees, as employees, we get so much support from our leaders and our co-workers through not just things that are going on at work, but home life too. We really do care about one another, and I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of organizations. And that was another reason why I decided to actually come back here to Luther Manor, because we are truly a family. We do have each other's back, and that's something that is, you really can't put a price on that. So
absolutely, it's a complete blessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I definitely appreciate you sharing your story with us, and thank you for sitting down with me today. And
Thanks for asking.
thank you.
Have a good day.
You as well. So thank you for joining us again for another edition of Luther Manor's Employee Spotlight. We will see you next time.